Welcome to Glisso English. Real life stories.
Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that feels like a horror movie, but it is happening to real people every single day. Imagine waking up, grabbing your coffee, and walking into work, only to be called into the manager's office. They turn a computer screen around and play a video. It is a video of you. It looks exactly like you. It sounds exactly like you, and you are saying something completely terrible and offensive. But here's the catch. You never said it. You are the victim of a deepfake sabotage. In this story, we're going to follow the journey of a character who has to fight to clear their name, prove the video is a fake, and save their career. As we listen to this gripping story, you're going to learn essential English vocabulary for technology, office politics, and crisis management. Let's get started. It was a perfect Tuesday morning. The sun was shining, and Adrian felt confident as he walked into the sleek, modern office of Apex Marketing. He had just ordered a hot coffee and was ready to finish his weekly reports. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. It was a text message from the Human Resources Director. The message was short. "Adrian, please come to the main conference room immediately." Adrian felt a strange knot form in his stomach. When he entered the room, he saw the Human Resources Director and the company's CEO sitting in complete silence. Their faces were grim, and the atmosphere was incredibly tense. "Sit down, Adrian," the CEO said, his voice cold and distant. Without another word, the CEO turned his laptop screen around and pressed play on a video. Adrian stared at the screen in absolute horror. The video showed Adrian sitting at a desk wearing the exact blue shirt he had worn to work just last week. He looked directly into the camera and began speaking. But the digital version of Adrian was making highly offensive, discriminatory remarks about the company's biggest clients. It sounded exactly like his voice, matching his tone and his natural inflections perfectly. "I never said that," Adrian stammered, his hands shaking as panic rushed through his veins. "This is not me, I swear." The Human Resources Director sighed and closed the laptop. "This was sent to our corporate email this morning, Adrian. Until we can conduct a thorough investigation, you're suspended indefinitely without pay."
Adrian felt numb as he walked out of the office building, the heavy glass doors clicking shut behind him. The bright morning sun now felt blinding and cruel. He sat in his car, staring blankly at the steering wheel as the sheer weight of the suspension hit him. Suddenly, his pocket began to vibrate continuously. He pulled out his phone and watched in horror as notifications flooded his screen like a tidal wave. The video had not just been sent to HR, someone had uploaded it to a popular local social media page. A text from a former coworker read, "Adrian, tell me this isn't real. Everyone is sharing it." Adrian's heart pounded violently against his ribs as he opened his professional networking app. The comment section under the reposted video was already a toxic swamp of outrage and disgust. Strangers were calling for him to be blacklisted from the industry, while old acquaintances silently distanced themselves, unfriending him by the dozens. Panic threatened to paralyze him, but a survival instinct kicked in. With shaking fingers, Adrian hurriedly changed all of his personal accounts to the strictest privacy settings. He blocked the hateful accounts and turned off direct messaging from people he didn't know. But the digital stain was already spreading, and the emotional shock left him gasping for air in the quiet confines of his car. He was completely innocent, yet the entire online world had already judged and condemned him. He realized with dread that hiding was not going to be enough. he was going to have to fight the internet.
Adrian spent a sleepless night staring at the ceiling, but by Wednesday morning, his despair had turned into determination. The local police had already told him that cyber cases moved slowly, and Adrian knew he did not have months to spare. He needed to prove the video was a fake, and he needed to do it fast. He reached out to Maya, a close college friend who worked as a deep learning software engineer. Hearing the urgency in his voice, Maya dropped everything and came over to his apartment with her high-powered laptop. "Let's see what we're dealing with," Maya said, her face serious as she downloaded the file from the social media link. Together, they began to analyze the video frame by frame, zooming in close on Adrian's digital face. "Look closely right here," Maya pointed at the monitor. When the digital Adrian blinked, the edges of his eyelashes blurred slightly into his skin. She then isolated the audio track, showing visual sound waves on a graph. The background room noise is completely consistent, but the words themselves have no natural breathing gaps, she explained. The lighting on the left cheek also doesn't match the shadows of the desk. It was a highly sophisticated deepfake, but the telltale signs of manipulation were undeniable under expert scrutiny. For the first time in 36 hours, Adrian felt a glimmer of hope. He was not completely defenseless. Science and technology could prove the truth. Now that they had proof the video was fabricated, a new and disturbing question arose. Who had done this? Maya explained that creating such a convincing deepfake required hours of clear audio recordings and high-quality video footage of Adrian's face. Adrian sat at his kitchen table, grabbing a blank notepad to start listing potential suspects. He needed to think about who had the technical know-how, the access to his media, and a strong enough motive to destroy his career. The first name he wrote down was Derek, a disgruntled former colleague who had been fired from the marketing team 3 months ago. Derek had openly blamed Adrian for his termination and had threatened to get even on his way out the door. The second possibility was Elena, a fiercely competitive co-worker who was currently vying against Adrian for the upcoming senior director promotion. Elena knew that with Adrian out of the picture, the lucrative position would automatically be hers. Finally, Adrian considered the public webinars he had hosted for the company, which offered plenty of open-source footage for any random internet troll to download. However, the timing was too precise, and the delivery directly to HR felt deeply personal. This was not a random act of cyber vandalism. It was a calculated, targeted strike. Adrian stared at the 2 names on his paper, realizing that the enemy was almost certainly someone he had shared a workspace with every single day. On Thursday afternoon, Adrian and Maya shifted their focus from the pixels on the screen to the hidden data behind them. They needed to find a digital trail that linked the deepfake directly to one of the suspects. Maya used her technical skills to trace the anonymous email that had delivered the destructive video to the Human Resources Department. The sender used an encrypted burner email account to hide their identity, Maya said, typing rapidly into a dark command line interface. But they made a classic sloppy mistake when they rendered the final file. She extracted the metadata, the hidden informational footprint embedded inside the digital video file. While the hacker had successfully hidden their personal network IP address, the file retained the exact timestamp of creation and the unique serial number of the editing software license. Adrian's eyes widened as he stared at the software details. That specific high-end rendering program is only installed on 3 computers in our office, Adrian said, his voice rising with excitement. The design team uses them, and so does the senior marketing analyst. He checked the timestamp of the file creation against the office attendance logs he had saved on his personal phone. The file had been compiled at exactly 8:30 p.m. on Sunday night. According to the building's digital keycard records, Derek was long gone from the company and the designers were all home. Only one person had swiped into the office that Sunday evening, Elena. Friday morning brought a different kind of pain, the pain of isolation. Adrian sat in his living room, watching the rain beat against the window pane, feeling completely cut off from the world. His phone was mostly silent now, save for a few cautious messages from friends asking if he was okay, but avoiding the topic of the video. Even some of his longtime colleagues had stopped replying to his texts, leaving him to wonder who actually believed the horrible lie. The weight of the doubt was crushing, making him question his own standing and reputation. Desperate for guidance, Adrian called Marcus, a retired marketing director who had been his trusted professional mentor for years. They met at a quiet coffee shop on the edge of town, far away from the gazing eyes of the corporate world. Adrian opened his laptop and showed Marcus the forensic evidence and the metadata that Maya had uncovered. "I didn't do this, Marcus," Adrian said, his voice cracking with emotion as he looked into his mentor's eyes. "Elena fabricated the whole thing to steal the promotion." Marcus listened patiently, examining the graphs of the unnatural sound waves and the blinking glitches. A warm, reassuring smile broke across the older man's face, instantly lifting a massive weight off Adrian's shoulders. "I know your character, Adrian, and I never believed that vile tape for a second," Marcus said firmly. "Technology can be used to counterfeit a voice, but it cannot counterfeit a lifetime of integrity. Do not let their deceit paralyze you. You have the proof. Now go and reclaim your life." By Saturday evening, Adrian's panic had completely transformed into a sharp, focused strategy. He had the technical proof, but he knew that simply handing the data to human resources might result in a long, drawn-out corporate review. He needed something undeniable, a direct recorded acknowledgement of guilt from Elena. Working late into the night with Maya, Adrian and Maya devised a clever digital trap using a specific piece of false information as bait. He knew that Elena still had access to the shared departmental cloud drive, and he knew she would be anxiously monitoring the situation. Adrian created a confidential-looking document titled Internal Cyber Forensics Report, Apex Marketing, Draft. Inside the file, Maya embedded a harmless tracking pixel, a tiny invisible piece of code designed to log the exact location and device of anyone who opened the link. The mock report stated falsely that the firm's IT security team had traced the video's unique rendering license to a home computer and was preparing to involve law enforcement on Monday morning. Adrian deliberately sent the link to a neutral coworker via chat, adding a casual note, "Hey, the IT team sent this to me by mistake. Please don't share it with anyone." He knew the gossip would travel fast, and Elena would not be able to resist the urge to peek at the evidence against her. They sat back and watched the monitoring dashboard, waiting patiently for the trap to spring. At exactly 11:42 p.m., the tracker flashed red. Someone had opened the file, and the IP address matched Elena's home network perfectly. She had taken the bait, and the resulting fear was about to make her unravel. Sunday afternoon was silent, but the tension inside the local coffee shop was palpable. Adrian sat by the window, his heart thumping steadily as he watched Elena walk through the door. She looked pale, her eyes darting nervously around the room before she spotted him and approached the table. Adrian had sent her a direct message an hour earlier, stating simply that he knew about the Sunday night keycard log and the rendering license. "What is this about, Adrian?" Elena asked, her voice unusually sharp as she sat down, trying to maintain her usual confident corporate facade. "I am very busy." Adrian did not raise his voice. Instead, he pushed his tablet across the table, showing the live tracking data from the previous night. "You opened the draft forensics report last night from your home computer, Elena," Adrian said calmly, looking directly into her eyes. "The company IT team didn't make that file. Maya and I did." Elena's confident expression instantly crumbled, replaced with a look of pure panic as she realized she had walked into a corner. "The police are going to be notified about the corporate identity theft and the hacked materials on Monday morning," Adrian continued, keeping his tone completely measured and professional, "unless you explain exactly why you did this right now." "It was supposed to just be a temporary setback for you," Elena whispered frantically, leaning forward as tears of anger and fear welled up in her eyes. "The promotion was right there, and you were always ahead of me. I just needed you disqualified for a few weeks." She confessed to the whole scheme, unaware that Adrian's phone, resting face down on the table, was recording every single word of her admission. Monday morning arrived, bringing the ultimate climax to a grueling week. Adrian walked back into the Apex marketing building, but this time his head was held high and his gait was firm. He was flanked by Maya and a reputable legal counselor he had retained over the weekend. They were ushered into the same main conference room where his world had turned upside down just 6 days prior. The HR director and the CEO took their seats, their expressions guarded but curious. Without vague explanations, Adrian's lawyer laid out the comprehensive step-by-step forensic dossier that Maya had compiled. They demonstrated the unnatural blinking glitches and the inconsistent lighting, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that the offensive footage was an entirely fabricated deepfake. Then Adrian placed his phone on the glossy wooden table and played the audio recording from Sunday afternoon. Elena's clear, unmistakable voice echoed through the room, confessing to the entire vile sabotage just to secure the upcoming promotion. The CEO's face turned pale, and the HR director gasped, realizing the immense injustice the company had almost committed. "Adrian, we are profoundly sorry," the CEO said, his voice filled with genuine remorse as he stood up to shake Adrian's hand. "Your suspension is immediately lifted with full back pay, and Elena will be escorted from the premises within the hour." Adrian accepted the apology, but he remained resolute about his professional boundaries and his damaged reputation. "Thank you," Adrian replied calmly, "but a private apology is not enough to undo a public slur. I require a formal company-wide email sent to every employee and client, explicitly clearing my name and explaining the cyber attack." The executives nodded in immediate agreement, knowing that Adrian had not only saved his career, but he had also taught the entire organization a powerful lesson about digital integrity. A few weeks had passed since the storm, and the vibrant energy had finally returned to Adrian's life. The official company-wide email from the CEO had completely restored his reputation, and the clients who had initially doubted him offered sincere apologies. Elena was gone, facing serious legal consequences for identity theft and corporate sabotage. while the senior director promotion was officially awarded to Adrian. However, Adrian knew he could not simply go back to business as usual. He felt a profound responsibility to ensure that no one else in the organization would ever fall victim to the same digital trap. On a sunny Friday afternoon, Adrian stood at the front of the main auditorium, hosting a special seminar for the entire corporate staff, titled Navigating Truth in the Digital Age. With Maya sitting proudly in the front row, Adrian shared his harrowing experience openly, teaching his colleagues how to spot deepfakes, verify metadata, and protect their personal data. Technology will continue to advance, and the lies will become even harder to see, Adrian concluded, looking out at the engaged crowd. But our shared commitment to facts, critical thinking, and mutual trust is the ultimate shield. As the room erupted in warm applause, Adrian smiled, feeling a deep sense of personal growth and vindicating triumph. He had not only survived a high-tech crisis, but he had turned a vicious attack into a powerful, lasting lesson on digital resilience for his entire community. And that brings us to the end of Adrian's incredible journey. It is amazing how quickly a lie can spread, but with the right skills and determination, the truth always wins. Now it is time to test what you learned today. We are moving straight into our quiz section to see how well you understood the story and the language. Listening Comprehension Quiz. Take a moment to listen to these 3 questions and think about the answers based on the chapters we just heard. Why was Adrian suspended from his job in Chapter 1? What specific clue inside the video's metadata pointed directly to Elena? What was the clever digital trap Adrian and Maya used to catch the saboteur? Write your answers down in the comments below, and I will let you know how you did. Don't forget to check the description box for a complete vocabulary list with all of the advanced key terms, phrases, and idioms we used throughout this entire series. If you enjoyed this story and want to keep improving your English with real-life problem-solving dramas, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.